Every time. Welcome back to Road Less Traveled, a podcast by Applewood Distillery, where we interview people who are pushing the boundaries in their given field. And I tell you what, today we've got a really exciting guest who I'm really excited to speak to. He is tearing it up in Hong Kong at the moment. He is a native of Manchester, but he has worked for some of the best gin brands in the world. He's been residing in Hong Kong, where he won the Time Out Rising Star Award. And he's now set up his own bar called Socio, where, shameless plug, we'll be doing an event on Tuesday, the 16th of April, with him in person, with me, flying to Hong Kong, which is going to be great fun. We have the incredible Amir Javait. My man, how are you doing, dude? What is going on?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Thanks for the video. I'm just laughing at my topic about it's just weird. Like, I've been in Hong Kong 7 years.
Yeah, no worries.
When you read it back, like what I've done in the 7 years I've been here, it's just like, oh, I've done quite a bit. It's pretty good.
Amazing. So, can you tell me about your new bar, Socio?
Yeah, so basically, well, the name Socio, it means society, community, and sustainability. So the idea and the concept of the bar is to try and incorporate a lot of leftover ingredients from the nearby restaurants. So I think we have, at the moment, four menus that we use.
Yeah, well.
So the concept of the menu is each hotel focuses on a specific country in Asia Pacific, because we want to try and focus on everything which is regional or close to us. Like everyone's always using Campari, or everyone's got Italian wines, and it's like French vermouth. So for us, we want to try and do like a New World style bar. So things trying to be a bit different, and I feel it's a little bit more creative when you're trying to use ingredients which are like spent ingredients, leftover ingredients. And it's cool in
100%.
Yeah, and for me, I'm also interested in like the community aspect, where I can get to more people from the F&B outlets, and then talk to chefs, see what ideas they have, how can I incorporate it into the menu. So we have one restaurant, which is the Vietnamese restaurant. We take the leftover oil from them, which is from northern Vietnam, and then we turn it into a powder, and then we serve it into one of the drinks with a coconut sorbet. So the texture of the like spicy oil and the cold sorbet, it's super cool. So that's what we try to do.
That's dope.
It's super cool, really good.
Yeah, 100%, man. Now, do you find that working with chefs, you're able to use a whole bunch of different techniques from like across cultures in that way? So like you're able to take techniques from like Vietnamese cooking or Southeast Asian cooking in general, and then apply it to your.
So for me, my background's always been working in restaurant bars. So I always like the idea of talking to chefs and seeing how I can incorporate flavors or ingredients into a drink. But I'm also interested in textures. How can I add textures into a drink, like fats, oils, anything like that. So, yeah.
Is texture? Why is texture such a big part of your thinking? Like, because most bartenders aren't really thinking about mouthfeel and texture. Yeah,
I feel like anyone can make a simple drink. You can be a home bartender. You can make a simple bee's knees, and it's just okay. But if you go to a bar, how can you elevate that into a dining experience? You know, like you go to a fine dining restaurant, and it's like, oh, this is really cool how they incorporated all these different techniques into a dish. But you don't really find that many bars that do the same thing, that elevate the drinks to a kind of like a Michelin standard, which I kind of like. Because I went to Australia in August actually, and I went to RE and also Birdie, and those two bars are just insane. And so I started to think of. So how
I'm really repping it tonight. Yeah.
So basically, when I went to Birdie, and they had a drink which was with the whole drink was a powder. So they used that as maltodextrin and turned the whole drink into like a fat, and it just melts in the mouth. So that was why I got the idea and the chili oil at the powder. It's so cool.
Oh yeah, awesome. Oh hell yeah. I think that drink was called Snow, and it was distilled yuzu, Geraldton wax maltodextrin. Yeah, I'm a bit of a sycophant, as you can tell. So community, it's not only a community of like people sharing ingredients, but it's also people sharing ideas is a huge pillar of what you're doing at Socio. But where does that fit then into sustainability? Is that closed loop of ingredients? Is that you're trying to find a way to use every single part, I suppose, nose to tail bartending, if you will?
Yeah, more or less. Like, for example, like for one of the drinks, we have like a salted pineapple and curry syrup. And then we take the leftover peel and we burn it, smoke it, and then we add that into our old fashioned. And then also cucumber, we peel. Yeah, we use it in the old fashioned. So because we don't use peated scotch, so to add that smoky element, we smoke the pineapple a little bit, so it gives you that smokiness. So it's pretty cool. And then also, well, cucumber. So the cucumber skin has a lot of bitterness, so we peel it off for one of the drinks, and then we dehydrate the peel, and then we blend it into a powder, and it's quite savory. It's been like matcha, so we add that into our Japanese cocktail, which uses sake katsu, which is like the leftover rice from sake making. And we blend it into a foam with Hokkaido milk, and then the matcha powder goes on top. So it gives you the texture of the creaminess from the rice paste, savoriness from the cucumber powder. Yeah, that's what I like. I love textures and playing around with
Man, you're going epic, dude. You're going full send. I love it. I absolutely adore it. Mate, I'm so excited. It's gonna be freaking amazing, and we're pulling out all the stops with what we're bringing as well. Really, yeah, it's gonna be very, very exciting. Now, you've been in Hong Kong for 7 years, but before that, you were working in the UK, right? So, one of my big questions is what was the major difference between working in the UK and then working in Hong Kong? Like, what was the big learning curve? What was the thing that you noticed was, I suppose, most different about working in those two like cities on almost the other side of the world?
The working hours. the working hours.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, How so?
I went from working in Manchester doing 42 hours a week, then coming to Hong Kong, I'm doing 60, 70 hours a week at the beginning.
Yep.
But I found the bar scene here was a lot more like high end compared to Manchester. Manchester was just the bar scene was just like slowly emerging, but that's before I left. And then I moved back into Hong Kong for a holiday to see what the bar scene was like, and it's a big culture here especially in Asia for bar scene. You know, we have like Asia 50 bands. There's so many hotel events going on, and Hong Kong is always very fast paced and there's so much going on. So yeah, I've been here 7 years now. I've slowly acclimatized to the hustle and bustle of the city as I love it.
Yeah.
It feels like I've been here 6 months.
And how do you find that intersectionality between like the expat community and then the Cantonese community of Hong Kong? Is that a strange kind of intersection to operate in? Or like, how do you navigate that?
No, it's actually quite easy because like Hong Kong is an English speaking country, so it's actually not too bad. A lot of my friends are Cantonese, but it's all a mix. There's not just like an expat community and a local community. Everyone's all mixed together, especially in the bartending community. So everyone hangs out. Everyone else goes for drinks together, and of course you get the few of the locals who speak Cantonese to each other, but it's bound to happen at some point. But yeah, it's relatively easy.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's this really tight-knit city in terms of the bartending community. Like, is there something specifically about Hong Kong that you like haven't found anywhere else in terms of the hospitality community, or in terms of like the chefing community or the restaurant community?
I think the hospitality that you get here from the bars and restaurants is not something I've seen. If you go to any other Asian country, so you go to Singapore or anywhere else, I don't think you'll get the same level of the standard or hospitality that you get from these. Like, if you go to like hotel bars, and the level of hospitality is like next level. It's really cool.
Yeah,
and obviously there's
100%
a lot of restaurants and bars here.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. Like, my big question for you is really surrounding how, in terms of the community element, you're using a whole bunch of ingredients that are native to Southeast Asia, What's been one of the like most incredible ingredients that you've run into, or I suppose an ingredient that has inspired you the most in the past like 6 months?
There's a few. Obviously, we also showcase Australia as one of the cocktails on our menu, and that's been quite, for me, honestly, it's been quite challenging to incorporate flavors I've never used before. Like it's okay for a bartender to make a drink, and it's like, oh, it's just quite bitter, so I just add Campari, or sorry, it's too bitter, and remove, or, stuff that everyone's used to. Just take the easy way out. Obviously, my concept is to focus on everything.
Wait, hold on. Why is that the easy way out?
It's like,
why is that the easy way out?
It's the drink's too sweet. Add Campari. So it's just like
no, true. And so you're utilizing stuff from all over the world, though, yeah.
Yeah. Well, so like using like lemon myrtle was really interesting. Wattle seed, anise myrtle, and then also using these peppers from Vietnam called the Dak Lak pepper. So it's quite smoky and really spicy as well. So I distill this pepper with cacao butter. So it's the pepper and then cacao butter from the same region in Vietnam. So this is super cool. That drink's really nice.
Yeah,
so it's like Dak Lak pepper, cacao, and then that's the one we serve with the chili oil. Yeah, super cool.
Oh, come on, delicious. Do you find, like, you just spoke about, I suppose, two ingredients that come from, I suppose, a very, sorry, it just sounds like something's crashing in the background.
Oh, yeah, basically, you got some, the gas comes by the glass washing machine, so it's like a comedy of errors happening at the moment.
You were just talking about cacao butter and then this chili, which, yeah, it's fine. Cacao butter and this chili that grow in the same region and come from the same region. Do you find a lot of inspiration by actually mixing and matching ingredients that all come from the same place? Or do you enjoy kind of piecing together the puzzle when it comes to ingredients from across the world?
I used to work in this bar restaurant called John Anthony. And it was inspired by the spice route, so the spice trade. So I've always been interested in history when it comes to where the spices are from. So that's one of the main concepts of the bars, is to focus on a spice or botanical from a country, and then we highlight that with the spirit from that country as well.
Yeah.
The Vietnam one, we use a Vietnamese gin, and then vice versa. We do that with all the spirits, and the majority of we use in cocktail. Yeah, I've also met most of the owners of these spirits, so it's just trying to have that relationship with the suppliers and the people that make craft spirits, rather than using spirits from these big companies and never get to see anyone from who makes it, where it's from, that kind of thing.
Do you find that their stories actually influence the work that you do in the bar as well, or do you use that kind of as a backdrop, or do you use it as like a springboard?
Without being like a shameless plug, but when it comes to like the Unico and the Applewood stuff, then yeah, it is actually, because I met Brendan a few times, and we've always connected on the sustainability aspect. And before I moved to Hong Kong, I used to work for like a local Manchester gin. So I like the thought process that they go through, the sustainability aspect. So yeah, it's just getting inspiration from people who distill or have a different thought process to me, and then I have to learn from them, and then trying to incorporate that into the menu, which is really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. In terms of sustainability, what do you consider like a product that is truly sustainable? One thing that we're dealing with a lot, I suppose, in everywhere in the world is greenwashing. We're seeing that a lot, like businesses just saying that they are sustainable, and maybe that's a little bit of figuring out whether something is really sustainable, or how do you go about, I suppose, asking the right questions?
I think with anything, everyone's always there's a lot of greenwashing in this industry, especially when it comes to like hotels. So it's like no, one second. So basically, a lot of the bartenders they'll say, "Oh, I have a lemon juice and I reuse the lemon, and that's sustainable." But then they'll use like spirits from the other side of the world. So for me, being more sustainable is sourcing more regionally. That's what I feel that's what sustainability is to me. And then, like, our whole concept menu, we don't use plastic in any of the fruits. So everything from the pears that we source for one of the Korean cocktails is just doesn't come in plastic. And I think 90% of everything we have is from plastic.
Yeah.
So it's just organic waste. Obviously, there's the bottle aspect.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that we need to figure out. But yeah, there's a lot of greenwashing, even when it comes to spirits. It's just hard to gauge, like, who's actually sustainable and who's not.
How do you go about navigating who is sustainable and who's not then? Because if you're having trouble, surely a general consumer is having trouble identifying actually how to ask that question. So do you have any tips or tricks?
But for our menu, there's a lot of storytelling for each drink. So if the customer has time, then we can explain to them how we are sustainable and the processes that we go through. And then a lot of the customers are actually quite blown away because if you tell them, like, the whole process that you go through from A to B, from getting sourcing the ingredients to the execution of the drink, and then the waste afterwards and how we incorporate that back into the menu. And then you can see the eyes light up and they realize, okay, you actually have thought about how to be sustainable, rather than the bartender say, oh, we're sustainable. And it's like, how? And it's like, oh, because we use the eco totes. And it's like, that's it? Okay. So,
okay, yeah. You used an eco tote, gold star.
Yeah. Do you have the eco totes in Australia?
Yeah, we certainly do. Yes.
Yeah. So everyone just thinks, okay, I'll just use the eco totes and done.
Yeah. Look, to me, the jury's still out on eco totes to a certain extent. Just simply because for me, the biggest thing about sustainability, when I think am trying to conceptualize it, and what I believe sustainability is transparency. It's like, can you prove what you're saying? Because I think greenwashing comes from people essentially saying, oh, well, I am sustainable. And then someone says, okay, well, exactly the same question as your patrons have asked. Well, how? And it's like, oh, well, it's reusable. And I'm like, okay. And that's it. Like, and I wonder how people, like, not even in our industry can arm themselves with, I suppose, a kind of selection of questions they should be asking. That is like, I don't know. It's like how to navigate the minefield of greenwashing, I guess, because it's a really hard path to move down in that way.
I think for us, we want to be open 2 months. So eventually I want to be able to, like, record the waste that we have per week, and then we can just post on Instagram and say, okay, this is how much waste we had this week. Let's see how we can reduce that.
Oh, right.
Week on week. Because we have a lab which is not far from the bar. So we have, like, the centrifuge and distillation machine and just everything where we do all that prep. So eventually I would like to have it as a go-to place for consumers or bartenders if they want to learn how to like be more sustainable, reuse, recycle our bottle. That's the long-term goal for the bar.
That's the long-term goal for the bar. Awesome.
Yeah.
That was going to be one of my questions. My big question for you about Socio and opening it up is, like, if you could talk to Amir before he opened Socio, what would you tell him as, like, a piece of advice for opening the bar?
Don't do it.
Would you tell him the challenges are going to be there? Why would you say don't do it?
No, it's been great, but it's just obviously opening a new venue. It's just been a bit relentless with the hours and just so much on, so much to do. I kind of feel like sometimes I wish I was back in the ambassador life. Weekends off, nights off.
Yeah. Has it been that hectic for you? Where like you're not really going home. You're working, like, 70, 80 hour weeks. Has it been that intense?
Yeah, it's been pretty intense. I can't complain. I enjoy it. I love my job. So it has been a bit intense the last 2 months because the concepts of the bar are still new defining, and it's always like a constant movement of, okay, what's next? Where are we going in the next month? What are we doing for events? How are we going to do more sustainability aspects for the bar? So it's this constant evolution of change, which is good.
Yeah, but it's also really challenging all at the same time. Like, it's one of those things where like it's like it's your baby, and you like it's a full-time job. It's freaking insane. It's super hectic. So what would you genuinely tell your former self? Don't do it.
I was just joking.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't say that. I would probably just say just keep going at it, and then it'll pay off eventually. No, I just did because I love making drinks, and I think for this menu, I've probably changed each drink about 5 to 10 times. So I'm like a perfectionist, and I keep tweaking things and changing things just to make sure I can get everything perfect. So the bartender's not really happy because I'm always trying to evolve the drinks and how can I make it more perfect. And every time they come in, it's like you keep changing things. I'm confused. But I think once I'm
can you walk me through that?
How I've changed things?
Yeah, you'll be good. Yeah. Can you walk me through like a creative process of like going from like is there a drink that you remember where you had like an original idea and it's been like 3 or 4 years and now you're at this new place that you never would have expected you'd been?
So I don't really when I make a cocktail, I never use the same drink again because I always feel like people always say, "Oh, do you have people always say as a bartender, do you have like a signature drink?" And I don't, because I always want to try to push myself to try and be a bit more creative and always try to make new drinks. So for this menu, I think there's one drink which is the one which really stresses me out the most is this Japanese drink, which is like wasabi, ginger, almond, and then the sake katsu, the rice paste, and Hokkaido milk. But I changed it in this variation about 10 times. One minute I was using white chocolate and yuzu, the next minute I was using Japanese absinthe, then I was using Japanese amaro, and I changed the recipe so many times, and each time the bartenders really liked the recipe, but for me deep down, I knew there was something that was missing. So today's the last day I've changed it, and now it's been confirmed. So after this video, Paul, I'm doing a training and stuff. And I was like, guys, no more changing, today's the last day.
Do you have to like set a structure for yourself when being creative to like stop yourself from doing 15 different iterations of a drink? Like, at what point do you say, okay, no more, that's done? Is it when other people become annoyed with you, or is it
that's what it is.
You like? Yeah, I love it. I love it.
The guys come into work and I'm like, oh, I'm changing this drink, and that's how we do it.
Yeah.
I usually change it when I change a drink. It's either on a Thursday or a Friday, and it's like really busy. Why are you changing your drink?
Oh dear.
So it can be a bit confusing for everybody, but
yeah. Now, I own it. It's like, I own the place. What are you going to do? Now, when it comes to sustainability at your bar, seasonality would play a bit of a role, especially around Asia. Now, because you're in the tropics, you've only got technically 2 seasons, I guess. How does seasonality play a role?
Well, we've only been open 2 months, so
the chefs that you work with as well, with the community.
I do this too much. But obviously with Hong Kong, there's not a lot of ingredients to grow here. Everything's flown in. And the things which are grown here are super expensive. Like we use, so
right,
a lot of the organic produce you get here is like really expensive. So everyone just
really
from overseas. Like we use local honey in one of the drinks, and that's like probably 2-3 times more expensive than just buying it from the shop. Even Australian honey is cheaper than getting it from Hong Kong. I think I'm not sure what the price difference is, but we can get macadamia honey from Australia for $80 Hong Kong, and then the local honey in Hong Kong is probably like 3 times the price. Yeah, it usually are. No.
Does it have the terroir?
Really, just tastes like regular honey.
That's the question.
There's not much.
Does it have the terroir?
No, not really.
Not
really. But so for the Hong Kong drink,
yeah.
So for our Hong Kong drink, we use local.
So you've only been open 2 months, gin, so
local honey, and then I spoke to like a tea master in Hong Kong. He gave me this like jasmine tea, so it's like super floral, hints of guava, and that's really nice. So it's rhubarb, honey, jasmine tea, and then local gin, and then we have we do like a spherification of black sesame, so you pop it in your mouth when you eat it, and then you
beautiful
taste of the drink. So that's super cool. But in terms of seasonality, it's just not really. Only I have an Australian supplier, and that they're quite seasonal. certain times of the year, which is really cool. But I just got a delivery just today of club color and lemon aspirin, lemon verbena, finger limes. So yeah, super cool.
Yeah, but it's
yeah. So we have
wow. Okay, you're utilizing a lot of native Australian ingredients in your bar. Why?
I think it's
Australian ingredients.
You can't get it anywhere else in the world. Like finger limes, you maybe get finger limes, but lemon myrtle. We use that in our martini. So we do a martini with a lemon myrtle distillate, 4 pillars gin, never aquavit, and then quince vermouth, super nice. And then we garnish it with finger lime. Yeah. And then we garnish it with finger lime, so you get like those citrus
from Saison.
When you try it, and it brings through the myrtle. It's really interesting. But yeah, I don't know. I've always been interested. I've always been into the Australian botanical since.
Beautiful.
It's kind of what.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I mean, when you come to Australia, do you see Australian bartenders like championing them or respecting these ingredients, or do you funnily enough, do you see it? I suppose a little bit more widely represented overseas.
I don't really see that many bars in Australia using native produce. Same with if I look at not using anything native there, you thrive on Asia, same thing.
Like when you go to Vietnam, you don't see Vietnamese bartenders using Vietnamese produce. When you come to Australia, you're not seeing as like a lot of Australian bartenders using Australian produce. What do you think the reason is behind like being in country and not seeing people use what's native in their own country? What is the reason behind that in your opinion?
I think it's a lot of it's to do with consumers. I think a lot of consumers just want to have a cocktail with strawberries and raspberries. I try to explain to the general public about what these native ingredients. People get a bit lost. But in Hong Kong, a lot of people are like perceptive to new ideas. They love hearing about stories and the cocktails. So here, everyone's a lot more open-minded about trying new ingredients. So far, it's been pretty good.
Yeah, awesome. Do you feel like that's also specific to Hong Kong? Is that kind of like your favorite thing about Hong Kong and its hospitality scene? Like that openness for new ingredients and new ideas?
Yeah, like everyone in Hong Kong, everyone's always saying they're a foodie. It's just doesn't make sense. Everyone's foodie.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone here is always wanting to try the newest restaurant, the newest concept, the newest, and some of the people they can be quite critical. They send you an Instagram and how was the bar? It was okay. This thing was okay. This one was really good. This one needs tweaking. And like, with a bartender, you're telling me all these critiques. Yeah, but it's nice to get feedback from people.
Yeah,
they can be quite harsh sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, really? Is it like too harsh sometimes? Like unhelpful?
Yeah, sometimes they can come across as like they're trying to be a bit more. I don't know. Someone messaged me like the first week we opened. It's like the menus. Do they explain this? This needs more direction. Because at the moment we just we just write down the content, really explain the concept too much. But once they have a full menu, they'll have more descriptions. So things will they'll get there eventually. But people desperate.
Yeah, well, 100%. I think whenever a new venue opens, they're always like, "You should be at 100% already," and it's like, dude, it's been like 3 weeks.
Yeah,
like we still don't have a docket machine, man. Like, you got to give us a break. When you go traveling around Southeast Asia or just traveling in general, what recently has been like a country that's inspired you, or something where you've like gone to a country and then gone like, oh my God, I have to use that ingredient? For example, with like the Vietnamese chili and white chocolate, did you go to Vietnam and experience that? And is that where that came from in terms of constructing that cocktail?
Yeah. So the Vietnamese gin is actually friends from my sister. We lived in Vietnam. He's founding in gin.
Yeah.
I went to Vietnam 2 months ago, and then he was telling me all about the native like spices and peppers in Vietnam. Mm-hmm. So that's when I kind of like, they had showed me some native pink peppercorns, like blue block pepper. There's one called Nam, which is like a sticky plum, dried sticky plum.
Oh, wow.
Which is super cool. I got some in the bar.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I got some really cool stuff.
Oh, right.
And he also makes Vietnamese coffee liqueur, So I just find it super cool to have something which is different and interesting. I think I'm probably the country which I went to. I think this is about week.
Yeah. Yes. Now. Oh yeah. Well, you got to say, well, I'm here, mate. Yeah. Now,
yeah.
Now, out of the distillates that I sent you on our email on our correspondence for the event that's coming up in Hong Kong, I gave you a long list of ingredients that Mitch and I had been distilling. Yeah, I think it was maybe 10 or 12 ingredients long. And you chose 4, which I found very telling and very interesting in some ways. But I want you to talk me through what made you choose the 4 that you chose. So just to remind you, you chose passion fruit marigold, you chose Carolina Reaper, you chose Tasmanian salmon roe distillate, and you chose strawberry yellow. So out of the ones that I gave you, you chose those 4. Why?
Yeah. So when I create drinks, I like to create drinks based on flavors. And I find a lot of bartenders, they get a bit too technical, and even you walk into a bar and you read a menu, and if you're a bartender, you have no idea what these flavors are, then the general customers are not going to have any ideas. So I base mine on flavors. But I think it's good to have a balance of something which is interesting for a bartender, and then flavors that people kind of recognize, like strawberry or passion fruit, and have that in the menu, but then try to showcase that in the drink and say how it's not actually passion fruit, it's passion fruit marigold. Strawberry gum, that kind of thing. So education, essentially. Big bartenders about education.
Yeah. Do you genuinely believe that the bartending should be about education of customers?
Yeah. I feel that each drink on our menu has a story to it. There's 3 different levels of information you can give to a guest. If they want just the basic information, you can just explain the drink and that's it. But if someone wants to know more, then I think there's 3 or 4 different things you can say for each drink to the customer if they want to know. It just depends on the customer, really.
And then if they want to know the 100%, you can just give them the full TED Talk, and you can take them through.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So, my kind of last question for you this evening, and it's a bit of a doozy because I'm going to put you on the spot, because I know that you've been a judge for spirits before. So my big question for you is, what do you look for when you're judging spirits in a competition setting? Are you looking for it to be true to style? Are you I think every time I ask this question to anyone, they're always like, I'm looking for quality. And I'm like, what does that mean? What does that actually mean? So my big question is, what are you looking for when you're a spirits judge? You're judging spirits based on their merit.
It has to be the balance of everything in the spirit itself. When it comes to the alcohol burn, the taste of the botanicals, is it all well balanced? I understand the need for different styles of gins, but for example, New World gins, is there a balance in New World style gins? Not so much, but if it tastes good, then I don't mind. So yeah, taste primarily, and if there's a balance from the alcohol to the botanicals, and that's basically what I look for.
Yeah, so would you take balance over intensity?
Well, it depends. If I'm going to the more navy strength gins, then actually I don't mind. But when it comes to just London Dry or just Tatty gins or New World, then yeah, maybe just more about the balance.
Yeah.
If it works. But if you try some gins and you're like, this doesn't really work, why you make this?
Yeah. Now, are you also looking for texture? You brought up texture before. You were a passionate advocate for texture. Are you looking for texture in spirits too? And if so, how do you actually identify that? If you're a general consumer and you're trying to taste spirit properly, how do you, as an ex-judge, go about tasting a spirit properly?
I think when it comes to texture, you don't really get that much texture when it comes to white spirits, unless it's made with if they incorporate cheese or milk or something in there to add texture.
Yeah.
But the majority of the time it's cheese-based, grain-based, and it's just a bit like, okay. But when it comes to like darker spirits, then texture is a big thing for that. I do chef I like. But like we use, I don't know, it sounds like I'm cooking in Australia, but Starwood whiskey, that's our house whiskey here.
Oh, awesome.
I love the texture you get from Starwood. Yeah.
What is the texture that you get from Starwood?
And so, because they age in red wine barrels, and obviously they source all their barrels locally from Melbourne as well. So, you get this rich mouthfeel, and it doesn't taste like a bourbon, it doesn't taste like a Scotch, but it's like a blend of everything all mixed together. So I feel like it's, I don't know, it's hard to explain because it's not bourbon, it's not Scotch, it's just like just there.
Yeah, it's just there. It's somewhere in that pocket of flavor. That's
somewhere around the middle.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Okay. So sorry, I lied. I've got one more now because I want to discuss the event again that we have coming up. It's an aperitivo event. What for you inspires you about an aperitivo? What are the things you look for in aperitivo? And why did you gravitate towards an aperitivo event over anything else that we could have done?
Because so the motto of Unico is always like smashable wines. I want to try for the bar with our concepts kind of like New World style. I want to try to do like a New World style aperitivo event because it's something quite interesting here. There's a lot of Italian bars here, and everyone's always drinking bar soda. So I wanted to try and showcase typical Australian like distillate of the Unico and apple stuff, and just show people there's another world out there when it comes to the mood and aperitivo.
Yeah, this just a new world style that's a little bit different. But what draws you to what draws you to aperitivo as like an idea? Is there something about aperitivo for you that's about simplicity, or is there something about aperitivo culture that's just like it's like a classy piss up? Like what is it for you?
I think it's just like more like, it's hard to explain. I think it'd be, if we did an aperitivo event, it'd be more community focused because you have a lot more people in here. You have more time to speak to people about the process of the drinks and what we're trying to achieve here in the bar. And then if it turns into a piss up, then feel free.
Yeah. I feel like aperitivo is like slow cooking a frog. That's what it's like. Like. If that makes sense, like your customer in the bar is the frog, and you just turn up the water slowly, and then somehow they're cooked, right? They're cooked at the end. That's what an aperitivo hour means to me. But I swear, if you are listening and you come on Tuesday, the 16th of April to Socio in Hong Kong, you will not be slow cooked like a frog. We are going to treat you very well with a beautiful aperitivo hour hosted by Unico Zello. Amir, my man, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it, dude.
No problem.
And I will see you very soon. Yeah, dude, it is my pleasure. Yeah, it's going to be tons of fun. Alrighty, catch you later, man.